Alright, so let's take a look at where we left off. So last class, what we did was we just got our base shapes in here, and you know, trying to throw our base model as much love as we can, so that when we get to the detailing stage, it gets a lot easier for us. So I'm gonna right click to unhide all, and we're gonna take a look at where we left off, and what we need to do next to really get this guy going. So, and as you guys can see, if you look at this, the reference, the wood looks like it kind of encompasses the entirety of that inside part. So even mine, I think I'm gonna have to kind of account for that on my own, so that it matches closer to the reference. So let's do that. So, and another thing I always, like I was telling you guys that I do, is I'm always looking at that reference just to make sure that we've got what we need. So I'm going to take a look at all the reference that we've gathered so far, and then I'm going to use that to kind of help me make the next the next decisions that I need to make. So here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at this guy. Yeah, it encompasses it, and what I'm looking at is the negative space, right? The negative space that I've got in here. You can see a little bit right here. It's that little black right there, right here. It's got a little bit of space in between the wood and that metal, and I just want to depict that just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. So it's only got a little bit of negative space. So it's got some like right here or a little right here, but I can do my part to help the model. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hit F on my keyboard and then go hit 2. Can you guys see my keyboard is no board on? Yeah, it is. All right, so you guys should be able to see no board and know what's going on. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna double click on this edge right there. See, like, just look. If I single click, it only selects one, but if I double click, it selects that entire loop. All right, so now I can just hit R on my keyboard, and once again, because I have it symmetried or mirrored on one side, I can then just start, increasing that scale using that middle to get exactly what I need. So I think I'm just gonna, start increasing it just a bit. Right here as well. Let's bring this guy up. Start scaling. Just gonna scale it up a little bit right there. Just moving it around. Right, you guys see that, this is one of those jobs that you just need patience. I know it's frustrating when you're trying to do something and you feel like you don't understand it yet, and it feels still probably a little foreign to you guys. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you're gonna feel. The more you're gonna be confident about the moves that you're making. And what I've learned is, hey, I might not 100% know what I'm doing in the moment, in the sense that, like, I don't know the exact topology. What I'm doing is just kind of building it and then letting the model itself tell me, hey, I need a poly right here, I need this edge right here. I'm using the silhouette, right, to kind of give me a lot of information here. All right, so that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to get this guy looking right. And that's going to be a mix of using that and the model. So the next thing I want to do is I might want to just throw an Ffd modifier on here just to see how it acts. I'm just gonna let's throw an edit poly here and then go back up here. So the reason it's based, it uses this selection. It uses whatever you have selected last in your edit poly stack. So if you have like one vert selected, it's gonna throw the FFD modifier. See, like this is where it is. So I probably have something selected over here, or I don't have anything selected. So that's where it's putting that edit poly, or that's where it's putting that FFD modifier. But once I turn on my edit poly and make sure I have nothing selected, I just added one right from my stack. If you don't have one, you can throw one on from here. And make sure you've got nothing selected, because now it's going to use that to encompass the entire thing. So let me show you another demonstration of that, because that might not be too clear. So now I've got these two selected. Actually, let me just select this guy, and then let me go back to that FFD. Now you guys can see that it's constrained to whatever selection I have, and that's why, right? That's why I was telling you guys, hey, I might not want that on everything. So actually, I'm just gonna throw it on this part, because this is the part I want to FFD modify. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is hit 1 on my keyboard, and that's going to allow me to select the control points on this FFD modifier. And now if I scale in or move something in, it'll respond to that. So I just want to scale some of this stuff in, because I just feel like it's getting a little out of hand a little bit. There we go. And the beauty of FFD modifiers is you can throw as many as you want. Once you've gotten to a place where you're just like, this is like ruined, I can't use these control points anymore because you've moved too many things, just throw another edit poly on there, right? And then you can throw another FFD modifier on there, FFD 4x4, and as you can see now, it's reset all my control points, and I can keep moving and editing my geometry from there. So this is another little sneaky tip that you guys can, you guys can use whenever you're modeling your own stuff, right? Little tips like this will help you guys come a long way. So now I have I've got my little shapes in here. Let's see. Make sure I've got everything I need. Okay. So now, if I wanted to, I can go back down here. And you look at where my my turbo smooth is in my stack. If I turned it on, it might do some weird stuff. So what I want to do is I want to grab my turbo smooth and bring it to the top of the stack. So now when I turbo smooth, no funky actions, no funky business going on, and I've got some smooth topology going for myself. All right. So, I can still, this is the coolest part, is turn off that shell modifier if I'm not liking what I'm seeing, or I need to add some more geometry to anything, right? I still have the ability to turn off certain things to look at my model, my geo, and see what I need to do. All right. So now let's talk about this area right here. It looks like it's got some interesting detail in there, and we want to mimic that. So I'm going to look at my reference once again just to see what's going on up there. It might be like a cloth wrap or something. That's what I think it is. It might be like some sort of little cloth wrap, or yeah. And another thing is, we're gonna add some more stuff to this, just because there's a little bit of detail that I feel like I'm missing from it. That I want to add. there's just so many different iterations of the sword. There's just so many different iterations. There's just so many different, interpretations of it that it's you kind of pick your own poison, right? You kind of amalgamate from all of the data that you have, like what you need to put in and what you need to take out. I lean closer to sometimes final game mesh, and then concept art. So I lean really heavy towards those, because what people who are making games are doing, or making toys are doing, is they're simplifying it as much as possible to match a mold or a print or something like that. So they're cutting corners, and they're taking liberties that the creators aren't taking. So that is my rant on that. And what I'm doing right now, I'm still looking through some of this reference to make sure that I've got the right thing. Yeah, and I think it's just kind of like some sort of rope or some sort of tie or cloth or something that he's got up on that. So this is the game mesh. So this is obviously game mesh, and they've got some sort of and we put all this detail into it, right? We put all this detail, and look at how how boxy theirs looks. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of those things that you gotta remember is my end product is super important to whatever it is I'm doing, right? My end product is super important to what I'm doing. What's it going into? What's it going for? And that's gonna a lot of the times inform how we do a lot of this stuff. Right, like I can count the polys on his little wristband thing. So it's like 1, 2, missing 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's 8 sides to this. So he's probably got an 8-sided wristband. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like and this is like a AAA title, right? So you've got to think about little things like that. But ours is supposed to be the high poly version, maybe like a game res, something that you would use for like cover art and stuff like that. So ours is going to be a little more high res. So another thing I might want to do is, because it looks like they've got like a sharp angle right here. So I'm just going to throw an Ffd Poly modifier on this part and this part right here. Just pull it up a little bit, because it just looks like they've got kind of like this sharper kind of angle on there. And I want to replicate that. And I'm not getting that right now from this, so what I can do is I can just chamfer this edge, right, like that, and that should make that sharper, like that. Alright, you guys can see that got a lot sharper just because I threw that edge loop in there, and now I want to take my shell modifier. I'm going to bring it to the top, and that's going to shell that. Right, and as you guys can see, we've got a nice sharp edge at the point of that now. Alright, so yeah, this is closer to what it looks like. We're getting some good geo going in here, and it looks like they've got like another little band or an edge right here. So we're gonna duplicate that, and we're gonna throw that into our model. Just hit Alt X to get an idea, and just looking at this, you can see that mine kind of went a little overboard with that. So I'm just gonna bring this guy in. I'm just gonna scale this guy and pull it down like so. Alright. I'm gonna hit Alt and 1 to go into my Swift loop right here. And I'm gonna throw one right here. Oops. I'm just gonna throw one right here. Hit R again. Right? And right now, look, if I scale this way, look at what it does. The reason is because my scale is set to this select and squash when I want this uniform scaling instead. Alright, so it's going to mess up my geo. So now I want to make sure that, hey, I've got the right selection selected. So Alt-1, again, that's my little hotkey. You guys probably won't have yours set to that, and that's okay. But you just need to know this is where you find your Swift loop. You throw a Swift loop on here, you know, then you scale it up a little bit. I'm going to pull this guy down quite a bit just so it's straight on, or, you know, at least at the angle that they have it. And then I'm just going to select this guy right here, hit F on the keyboard, and what I can do now is pull this guy down a little bit, and I might just throw on a chamfer, right, just to get us a nicer transition from there to there. And then I'm going to hit Alt and 1 again. I'm going to throw an edge loop like right here, and then one right there. And I might right click, this chamfer this guy, just reduce that amount right there, and that's our chamfer. Hit Alt and 1 on the keyboard like so. Alright, so now I just want to make sure that I have that same blue material on this end cap right here. Right there. Hit M on my keyboard to bring up my materials. And I'm just going to throw this ribbon material on there. Now if I hit Alt and X, you'll see what I've got. Alright. So yeah, we're moving right along on this guy. Let's now go back to this ribbon talk over here, and I'm gonna throw this guy out. I'm gonna actually turn off the shell modifier. Use my turbo smooth a little bit, and I'm gonna do maybe 2. Alright. Throw an edit poly modifier on there. And now you can go in and select these loops that you've got here. And what I'm going to do with those is what I can do is I can hit extrude. Like that. I want them to meet kind of close. Just leave a little bit of space in there. Leave space in between. Hit the check mark. Now if I have my edge selected and I hold down Control and select my polygon, it's going to convert those into my selection set right there. And before I do that, I kind of want to push this out because it's kind of embedded in my model right now. So maybe if I turn on turbo smooth for this, it might make this a little easier for you guys to see. Let's just turbo smooth this guy by 2. Yeah, these guys are just laying on each other way too much right now to see what's going on. So what you guys can do in that situation is, if you've got something like that, you can throw a push modifier, and it's just going to push everything a little further out. Alright, so I'm just going to hit P on the keyboard to find my push modifier, and now you guys will see I can kind of just push this guy out a little bit, like so. Alright. So now, if I want, I can do all the modeling I need to do, and then turn off that push modifier. You see what I'm saying? So little things like that will help you guys in the process that you're doing. So now, find another piece of reference that's closer to that. So here's what another piece of reference. You guys can see that. Kind of like that rope thing that goes all the way to the bottom. So I might want to just throw a shell modifier on this guy first. Alright, throw a shell modifier like that. Turn on, throw another edit poly, and then select my my face. Select these again, and then control select, like I just showed you guys how to do. So I'm just gonna bevel these guys out. So my original bevel is gonna set on the group normals when I wanted to do it on the local normals. And just squeeze these guys in a little bit. And I might want to do the same for these parts right here, so I'm just going to throw a Swift loop in here to help me select them. I'm just going to hit W on the keyboard, select this guy, select this guy, oops, select this guy, control, turn those, and then just throw that same bevel modifier on there. Just so we've got, and they look like they're undulating or they're changing, they're not all the same. So I'm just going to hit clear on mine, and then do an auto smooth. Let's do clear. Let's do smooth 30. It actually does a much better job. Alright. So we've got our little pattern, our little ribbon. It's kind of tied around. It's a little different. Alright. Okay, so it looks like we've got about 10 more minutes left in the class. And I think that we have time for one more thing. Maybe one more little thing. Okay. So I've got my shell modifier. What I want to do is I'm going to throw an edit poly modifier on top of this guy. I'm going to hit Alt and 1 on my keyboard like so. Because they've got kind of like this shape going on in there. Yeah. Do Alt 1. This just helps me select. And then I can just extrude this. Let's actually bevel it. And remember, I don't want to do it based on the group. I want to do it on the local normals. Right, and this will give us some more of this detail. Alright, and then I can inset this guy. Like so. And then just turn on Turbo Smooth and we'll see what it does. Alright. So just like that, we've added some more information to our model. Just like that. Simple, simple, easy peasy, nothing too crazy. Alright, so, I'm looking forward to wrapping this up, and as you guys can see, these ends turned into bulbs. We don't want that. To clear that up, we just need to throw an edge loop right in the center right here. By the end of it, what we're going to do is we're going to weld these two. We're going to, attach them to each other and weld them. But before then, we need to see this as, one piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that, and we're going to turn on Turbo Smooth, right? And you're still getting this weird weird kind of bubbly end to it, and that's because our one edge isn't going to do it. So I'm going to show you one way to do it, right, which is this way, and then you would just throw another one right in here. Just inset it. Just make it a very small one. The closer it is to that edge, the harder that edge is going to be. So now if I turn on my Turbo Smooth, you guys can see it's almost gone. But the best way, the simplest way for you guys to do that, I'm going to undo all of this, right? We're going to go back here, is show you this other way. Select this guy, select this open face, delete it, watch this. Boop. Right, the reason is because there's no open face, 3ds Max treats any open face as a hard edge. So now I don't need to throw locking loops or any of that stuff in there. All I need to do is remove that, and it treats that like a hard edge, and we won't see that weird smoothing thing anymore. So that will be the last little tidbit / lesson I will have for you today. You know, let's just finish it up with, you know, just what I would usually do. You know, my quote for you guys, it's weird because I even have this quote written on my table, is the obstacle is the way. Sometimes in life we often try to look for an easier way, or look for, you know, what's the path of least resistance. And some of us are like that. You know, artists are often like that. Artists don't like confrontation. You know, our medium is very, very us-centric. Our medium is very, very introverted, right? You can do all your work on your own time. You can work, you know, and not have to show anybody. And it's a very, very, it's a very, very self-centered medium. And what we tend to do is we try to look for the path of least resistance. And sometimes in life, that just isn't going to be an option. And we will encounter obstacles no matter what we do, or no matter what we try, no matter how easy your parents try to make your life, you will still encounter troubles and tribulations and trials in your life. And sometimes, right, the obstacle is the way, right? Whatever the issue is, that's the way to get better. That's the way to do what it is you need to do. That's the way to get out of whatever jam, whatever nonsense you're in. That obstacle, the problem, right? You need to go through whatever it is, face the consequences, and that's the way to, you know, really get into the other side and feeling better about a situation, because those challenges are going to make you stronger. You know, there's a saying that says essentially your destiny, you'll make your destiny on the road you took to avoid it, right? If something's meant to happen, it's going to happen regardless of what you want or not in life. Bad things will happen, right? So it's more important for you to face it, address it head on, than trying to avoid it, right? If you try to avoid your destiny, you're gonna run into it, because your destiny will be made on that road you took to avoid it. You know, so that's just my Friday little word of wisdom. I've been, you know, it's information, or it's knowledge that I've been gaining from this book that I've been reading. It's called Ego. Let's see, what's it called? Just had it up. Ego is the Enemy. That's the name of the book. And it's a really good book, because it just essentially talks about why we have so many issues doing what we want to do and doing what we need to do. And a lot of the times it's because of our ego, and how our ego clouds a lot of our judgment, and, you know, makes us act rashly and you know, overreact to things that aren't as bad. So I would recommend you guys read this book. It's called Ego is the Enemy. And he also has another book called The Obstacle is the Way, and that's where I got that philosophy from. But it's a really good book. It's a really good, some really good ideas that I think will help you guys if you're ever running into roadblocks or you feel like, man, I can't do this, or this is, that it's something that you have to go through. You have to go through trials and tribulations, and it doesn't mean that the universe hates you. The universe is ambivalent. The universe doesn't care. The universe is the universe. So it's not. Don't just take on this woe is me attitude where, oh my God, I had a flat tire, my entire day is ruined. So I just want you guys to have a good weekend. Think about some of this stuff. Work on your work. Turn your stuff in. Post. It's baby steps. You guys do it every single day. Keep doing it. Keep working on it. You guys are gonna get better. You guys are gonna get the jobs. You guys are gonna hard work and talent will always pay off. And if you're if you encounter an obstacle, hey, it's just a good training, good learning experience for you. If something bad happens, there's a nugget of information that you can get out of there. There's a nugget of wisdom that you can get out of there. So don't give up. Don't feel like, hey, everything always happens to me, right? Don't feel like that. Bad stuff happens to all of us, right? What really matters is how we deal with it and how we approach those situations and what we take from it. So yeah, that's my little spiel for the day. Look forward to seeing you guys on Monday. Please do your work, turn it in, and yeah, have a good rest of your week. Have fun, do your work, and that's it. Does anybody have any questions for me?